so weird, Yuri said in class when she tried to get them to read a story. She realized it wasn't her job to have their awakening, but to focus on her own. She went over oxymorons. There was jumbo shrimp. Any others? She asked. Civil War, Yuri said. Her third graders were strangely astute, but Laine thought at the same time, wasn't holy war an oxymoron? And that's what they were fighting over there in Israel. You're just trying to brainwash us, Elijah said. Why, just because I taught you about Pangaea, the theoretical ancient landmass? They seemed to see her as controversial. She was from nowhere, defined by ambiguity, welcoming a more imaginative approach to faith. Her feminist loving nature was unpopular with the men and their wars for land and power. But should the land be inherited by the children or a few greedy men? She was paraphrasing. She heard somewhere that incredible classroom management does not lead to incredible student engagement. Incredible student engagement always leads to incredible classroom management. The other rooms were full of well-behaved children, like comatose students, but her class was a bouncy ball, sometimes vibrating softly, sometimes off the walls. But she had the potential to be great. She overheard people talking. I think she works really hard. How old is she? Like 32. Laine called in sick. She lost track of her phone. She slept until 2 p.m. On the train going to North Station, she lost a sack of Brussels sprouts. They spilled all over the platform, and she quickly jumped trains. She imagined they were bouncy balls, her students, and she was holding them close for their true nature, like she would a deeply loved child. Maybe the mom wouldn't take them by the hand and make them feel bad in front of the transit employee, but sneak them on the train under her wing, the two of them running like thieves in an adventure tale. And there was some rightness even with her wrongness. It takes a while to become a frog, she thought. Trust the process. Laine wished she could cut her hair short and make herself a man sometimes. It would be easier to be a man in their courts, but she had curls. Curls often symbolize vitality, strength, and a wild, untamed beauty that mirrors the Irish landscape. She sometimes still dreamt of high school guys whose parents had good jobs at the research lab in town and could afford Patagonia and didn't have to be on school lunches. They were nothing but indifferent to her. In school, she didn't see them as competitors. They all seemed more equal as kids than grown-ups. They thought she had stolen a lot of money from the school because she'd written some good essays and won the scholarships. Plus, her parents had no money. Made out like a bandit, they said, but she had won fair and square. You got everything, her high school crush had said. You don't need the money, your parents can help you pay for college, she said. Yeah, but I wanted to pay for it myself, he said. Laine couldn't forget the doors that had been opened for her as the dining hall rustled with laughter from beyond, and she looked around for a second, once more, and the man in the painting began to speak to her, and her alone. Hey, lassie, come here a moment, come closer, Lug said. The road created order and structure, and made people feel safe. But the crowding wilderness wished to follow its own course, be naughty, overcrowd, and push boundaries like a room full of school children. So where did they find a happy medium? Laine wondered. Who's to say he'll listen to anything I have to say? I mean, who's to say the kids will listen to me in this new teaching opportunity I'm going for? Laine asked. Just because I care about nature doesn't mean they will. But I'll try anyway. Good girl, Luke said. She heard a quote that said the children the world almost breaks will go on to save it. Another one said a person can endure almost any situation if they believe their future can be better than their past. Her dream man in her dream of breathing underwater said she was strong, that she had walked through the fire. It is your turn to be blessed by the god of light, Lug of the long arm, the lion, said. And just like he had Cuchulain's spear, he remolded and fortified Laine's graft, sense of purpose, and self-belief, as an onslaught of interviews took her into newness. I use inner strength as both my shield and my spear. Get one no and receive 5 yeses in its place, Laine thought. Sometimes Mom said something negative that got under her skin, like if it didn't work out, she still had a home to come back to, although it was true, and that was nice. Like she didn't believe in her, though, and she was making fun of her ideas, which made it hard to keep going. Non voglio che tu mi prenda in giro. I don't want you to make fun of me. My story is a modern interpretation of an Irish myth. It's about one thing, but also many other things. Why did she have to be so sensitive? It was a sign of respect to nature in the olden times for people to tell the bees about major changes in their lives, such as marriages, the birth of a child, or a job loss, though she didn't know if she should tell them disappointing news or the fact that she was luckily employed again. In the past, it was custom to approach the hives gently, knock to get the bees' attention, and then softly murmur the news in a solemn tone. This ritual was believed to keep the bees' connection and respect that people historically had for them, viewing them as integral members of the household and community. Before she knew she had been dismissed, she placed an order for Amazon, mostly prizes for her class. Amazon was bad for the bees, something about their packaging, something about the adhesive they used on the package was killing the bees, so she apologized to them after confiding in them her secrets. We are the ones who are bumbling, she said. The design of the bumblebee's body is said to be aerodynamically unsound, yet they are able to accomplish the task nature calls on them to carry. Her story had grown so strange, but they assured her she wasn't crazy, that the new people she'd meet would support her in everything she did. Your dream team of supporters is forming around you. Welcome them. They were having a party for St. Patrick's Day in her new job. Laine said, "The boss asked me to say a few words. I think it was because I was the only one who spoke fluent English," Laine said. "Maybe they knew you were Irish," Mom said. "I told them about St. Patrick getting rid of all the snakes." "I thought you might have told them about Cuchulain," Mom said. It was easy to judge other people's efforts without seeing the actual work they put in. A snail inched along and Laine kept teaching. The journey is long and full of terror. Yet I inch forward. Someone wrote an article about the snails that were harder to find with the water line rising. It was close to Valentine's Day again, a good day for taxes. Trust yourself and don't dedicate too much time looking for true love. It will appear in due time, but only if you are following your passions and caring for yourself. Everyone deserves love, but Laine thought peace of mind and a growing bank account and even a family vacation would be enough for her. I honor the waiting as a blessing and not a burden. I give thanks to the mystery that has more meaning than I can see. Even though I know this, I'm still so scared to death of Donn. Fear of success was called achievomophobia. It said people can sometimes sabotage their destiny because they fear succeeding. Like, what would happen if my dreams actually came true, and I have to live a life bigger than I ever imagined? In her dreams, she had an opportunity to go to Italy, but there was competition. No matter how unrealistic it seems, it is going to happen, she told herself. She deserved to go after her dreams, make her own luck, chase her passions and see where they led her. Maybe the biggest plot twist was waiting for her in another country. She thought rainfall of financial freedom and abundance. But no, she could not allow that. Self-sabotage was real. It'd be easier to stick here and be your bride, whatever becomes of me, Laine said, as if it were even a question on the table. And if she'd waited long enough, she would have opened the hall doors, smelt the delicious cooking smells, and realized there was more for her. There was so much for her in the future. If she was patient, she wouldn't have to compromise the promise she had made. She could achieve success with her morals intact. What promise had she made to herself? It was a story of Eagle and the Hunter that she'd made up. She couldn't remember it. She was looking the other way. Desire was flaring up again. "What did you say?" Cuchulain asked. "Oh, nothing," she said.